Hello, welcome, Marlene here. Today I'm working on some football cookies. The trophy, however, could work for other sports, school activities, maybe even an ugly sweater competition. This is a beginner project. Don't worry if you've never decorated cookies. I walk you through the step-by-step process. The silver is just canned mist, like a can of edible food color that you spray on, so don't get too scared. It really isn't as hard as maybe it looks. So let's jump into the step-by-step cookie tutorial. Step one here, I'm adding the icing in two sections just to create the stitch that is in between the football. So you can decide if you want to just do the whole thing, but it's not very hard to add it in two parts. It's just you have to wait for this to dry before you do the next section. And now the other section, and you can see how it's going to stay separate because this first part we did has had time to form a shell on top. So now when I pipe right next to it, you see how it kind of remains separate, and we get this seam between the two areas, which looks kind of like an actual stitched football. All right, here are my footballs. You can see that seam that we created adds to the realism. And this is a 44 ribbon tip. And I'm adding these white lines on either side of my footballs here. And then on this side, like so. And you can see I'm not doing them straight. This is a ball, it's not a box. And I find it just looks more right with a slight curve, okay? And now I'm going to switch out my piping tip to a 2 to get that little stitch. Again, it adds to the realism. So right here, I'm just doing, again, following the curve of the cookie. This is not a box, like I said before. And now we're just adding and the trophy cookie could be for almost anything really, right? I'm just outlining and flooding this portion, and on here you could make in advance some little circles that say first place or just a 1, 2, 3 or star, whatever you want to put here, names. My icing's on the thick side. I wanted it to heal rounded, and then here I'm doing here as well. All right, let's give this a little swirl so that it heals. And then a shake. There. Next step to the trophy here, so I'm adding a dot in between the top and the base here, so like that. Another dot here for the what I'm going to write later. Let's spread this out a little bit. Like that. The base area. Okay. And I'm adding some textured icing, so thicker icing, just portions of it, just to make it a little bit more ornate, trophy-ish. Same thing, just a little shell border, so it's dots. I'm rocking my hand. Alright, switching out the tip for the handles. Alright, and now let's add some handles. So I'm just connecting here, going around right at the edge. It's basically a C. Let's rotate so you guys can see this side. Starting here, just wrapping around, back up, and then ending. You can see it's kind of resting on top of that center area. I struggled with this design. I was not very inspired. Alright, so I'm starting here and I'm just following the shape of the cookie going up here. And there's like a bit of a fatter bump there, so I'm just taking all this back down and I'm flooding all this in black. You can do any colors you want. I'm just working in black, keeping it neutral. Okay. I want this to be smooth looking, so I'm just shaking it so that it heals. You see there? And now I'm going to outline the whole cookie here. There we go. And then here there's a hole. I'm just drawing a circle. I'm going to let this crust over a little bit. And then I'm going to flood all this in blue. But right now I'm going to add some white right here to the front, so that I can rest the cage on, or else it'll kind of not rest at the same height as the helmet. So this is just background icing, just to get the cage up to the height of the icing on the helmet there. Alright, so here I'm now adding the blue icing to the helmet, and I'm just connecting to that black area. Now you can obviously make these any color you want. And I'm going to add a white area right here for a potential logo or something. Thanks for watching. Here are the completed cookies, and you can see that circle on the helmet that can be personalized for each player. You can add their number, maybe a little logo. You can do that in piped icing, or you can do that with edible markers. Make sure the surface is dry before you start drawing with markers. You can either have these on a tray or individually wrap them. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and I'll see you in the next cookie tutorial.